I'll just tell you briefly a little bit about my research. Basically, as Imogen says, it looks at how the Holocaust is represented in popular internet culture, for lack of a better term. I think when looking at the Holocaust in the digital age, a lot of previous focus has been on how technology can extend the reach and impact of existing sites and institutions, often armed with a very fixed idea about how this history should be interacted with, and what its significance is and what its message should be. And what I wanted to do was switch gears and examine what people are already doing with these symbols of memory in the sort of much less curated environment of the wider internet. And I think outside of official forms of commemoration and education, there's a kind of counterculture of memory that's arisen online with things like memes, artwork, flash games, stop motion, Lego films, and fan fiction. And that's the kind of area in which I've been focusing my attention. I think we saw a very good example of this at the beginning of the pandemic. There was quite a heated debate arose because memes and Twitter posts sort of surfaced comparing lockdown to the plight of Anne Frank. And obviously, on a surface level, this is offensive and insensitive, but these memes kind of had a context of their own that relates to the position of Anne Frank in meme culture, which, yes, is a thing. And I think that it's that sort of angle that researchers are sometimes unaware of. And I think it's fair to say that these more irreverent forms of engagement are the focus of a lot of the anxiety that surrounds the kind of collision of the Holocaust and the digital. In online space, we obviously have the blurring of all sorts of boundaries and this coexistence of the serious and the frivolous, often in the context of the same web page. And there are persistent concerns about trivialization when it comes to topics like the Holocaust. And the unregulated environment of the internet has even been described as kind of akin to the carnivalesque. When describing the internet, Victor Bergan used the term prosthetic unconscious, which is a sort of manifestation of the human mind by way of digital simulacra. And my research is concerned with questioning whether this very fluid and ambiguous space can facilitate memory play, with the idea that a playful interaction doesn't necessarily exclude a meaningful interaction, and can in fact encourage understanding and empathy in some cases. Theorists like Winnicott have closely examined the importance of play in the process of mastering complex or potentially distressing ideas. And in fact, in teaching and learning about the Holocaust, we're slowly seeing the incorporation of play into the learning process. The Journey app, for instance, recently developed by the Holocaust Centre in Nottinghamshire, which has taken a kind of ludonarrative approach to delivering testimony. And I think another good example is the topic of my most recent paper, which looked at the practice of creating social media accounts for Holocaust victims. As has already been mentioned, in 2009 there was a Facebook page for Henio Zetomirski, with photographs and posts written in his voice, and so on. And more recently, there was the Instagram account created for Eva Heyman for Holocaust Memorial Day last year. And I thought that what was really interesting about these projects was, I mean, obviously their creation in itself was interesting, and they were motivated by, well, various, usually the desire to commemorate. But I thought what was most interesting about these projects was the way people interacted with them once they were live. I noticed that people quite often interacted with them as if they were speaking directly to the person on the page, and it was interactions that extended beyond historical questions. There were, you know, mundane things like wishing them happy birthday and kind of inviting them to play Facebook games, particularly actually in the case of Henio's Facebook page. It was essentially functioning like a giant game of let's pretend, I suppose. And although, I mean, interactions like this can be seen as frivolous, but I think what we're actually seeing here is the communal simulation of an artificial persona, um, sort of an avatar that can be used as a proxy uh, for people to encounter the memory of the Holocaust and explore sort of what it means now and what it means to them in a way that feels, I suppose, more personal. Um, and I think that the drive to simulate presence in this way can be seen in many other digital forms of commemoration. And I think it's particularly interesting in the context of an event like the Holocaust, where people are asked to comprehend loss and destruction on such a massive scale, and where the dichotomy between presence and absence is so poignant. And what I think these projects demonstrate is the potential of digital space for teaching and learning. I mean, by its very nature, this space seems to address a lot of the issues surrounding Holocaust memorial culture in new and interesting ways. And I think at this point in time, it's important to, as we're in this sort of transitional space in the life cycle of Holocaust memory, where we're passing out of living memory, I think at this point in time, it's important both to look at what people are already doing within this digital space and to fully realize the educational and outreach potential. Uh, thank you.